When designing the Tempcom system, we took several things into consideration. We asked ourselves, should I use my existing mercury relays or contactors or solid-state relays? In many systems where customers have upgraded their system, they've left existing solid-state relays in, and the issue with that is if there's a short on the solid-state relay, the system won't know the short exists. And what happens during a situation like that is the temperature could rise on your extruder and have product scrap or even damage. Another situation is if they had a blown fuse. Your zone will get cold, again making product scrap, and then relating into other problems. So the system that we wanted to design needed to know the instant one of those conditions occurred, whether it was a shorted solid-state relay or a blown fuse. We want to know the moment that occurs. The next thing is, should we use a PLC for this system or a PC-based control system or a computer? Well, we believe computers are great on your desk, because if you have a blue screen or a screen freeze or something like that, then it's not a problem on your desk to do a Control-Alt-Delete or even reboot. But that's a problem when you're talking about running a production line or controlling a web. You don't want to stop your production in a situation like that. And PLCs don't have that issue. Another issue is PCs become difficult to support over time. The operating system that you may have put in 10 years ago isn't the operating system that Windows is operating right now. And so the compatibility of the software when it was developed versus finding a new computer, that's a problem. So you're usually looking on eBay to find a computer that's Windows 95 that would be able to work. So we didn't want to put our customers through something like that. Last thing we looked at is, should we do the PID loop inside the PLC, or should we do it externally? People like Jeff Wren and Eurotherm have been doing loop controls on extruders for years, and they've developed algorithms that are specifically for those. And it'd be great if whatever system we design could utilize that knowledge instead of bringing that into the PLC, making it a lot more complex. Now, when I was at MPE 09, I came across this product which I believe is going to be a paradigm shift in extrusion control and upgrades. It's this GFX4 module, and the best way I can describe this is if you went to Office Depot or Staples and you were to purchase a scanner. You wouldn't purchase a scanner today. You'd buy a scanner and a fax and a printer, and it would be all in one component. You wouldn't have all these components come back taking up all this space. You're trying to hook them up and make them work. This actually they would be all easy to hook up, take up less space, and cost less. Well, we call that integrated component technology, and this is true with this product, the GFX4 module. The neat thing about this is it has 4 different components in a single module. It has your PID loop, your solid-state relay, your control transformer, and your fuses for 4 individual temperature control zones in a single module. Well, that's awesome. What that does for us is it takes up less space, so I can do the same job in about 50% panel space. I can do it for less. It works out to be about $300 a zone, and it's easier to hook up, and cost is retrofit time, and so my technicians can come in and do a retrofit much quicker, and you have a cleaner system. The issue is really what to interface to this unit, and Jeff Wren had their own system. It was a Veto unit, and it was a PC-based control system, and they had problems, blue screen problems, all kinds of issues. So they approached us and said, would you guys build a PLC interface to this, which we did. And we've been very successful in that, and it's the Tempcom. And the Tempcom system is capable of controlling up to 120 zones and 20 drives on Ethernet and 10 pressure inputs. And it's all with this HMI PLC interface. So very powerful system. In fact, we can do things like that. An entire extrusion control line. Here you're looking at a blown film line. And one of the things that's neat about the Tempcom is if I want to look at a particular area, I just touch on it, and then I can zoom in right into the area that I'm wanting to do. Now, we've designed this for 2 kinds of operators. There's the guys that have been doing single zone control forever, and don't change anything on me, and this thing will run. Well, they should be able to adapt to this system very, very easily. We've also designed it with some other advanced features that the guys that are more computer savvy could really empower you on your process. For instance, the way to control this, you can turn on and off a zone simply by just touching on the zone. You can see from the graphics we're simulating here, you can see the heat and the fans running. You can even see the extruder running. I can turn the extruder off, I can turn the extruder on. I can control speed by just pushing on a plus. I can actually enter a value of 50 RPM, and we're going that speed. The other thing is our process variable is changeable. I can come in here and I can change my process variable to say 300 degrees. But I've got some global controls as well. I can turn them all off. I can turn them all on. I can actually come in here and give everybody a command of 300 degrees. Very, very flexible, very intuitive. It takes very little training to get somebody up to speed and how to work with this. Some other things that are neat about this is our trending. When you usually get trending from a manufacturer, they tell you what you're going to get to trend. They have got your screens pre-designed. The beautiful thing about the Tempcom system is you get to design your own screens. We have 8 different trend screens that you can choose from, and you can select anything that you want to trend on these 8 different screens. So if you want to trend current versus current on your drive versus pressure, you could do that. If I just press this trend, you see there's nothing on there. This is very simple to do. So if I want, let's say this process variable 1, I want to put this in here, and I want to look at it from 0 to 500 degrees, and I want this to be the only thing I'm looking at, okay? And then I just hit save. And then if I look back on here, you'll see there's process variable 1. So it's very easy to do, very intuitive. The other thing that we have on here that's very advantageous is the recipe control. And what's great about a recipe control is I can have be running a process right now, and I can capture that process, whatever's going on right now. And I just went out there and I captured it, and then I can save it as a name. Let's say we're going to save this as preheat. Then I've got a nice control system. I can go out there and I can push it, and everything happens, or the system can be controlled based on this. For instance, I'm going to go to an all-off command. Let's see, right here. I'm going to push that out to the line, and when we go back to the line, you're going to see that all the heats are off. So I have the ability to do some things that are really neat. If I interface this with a scheduler, then I've really empowered my system. I can take a recipe and I can have, let's say 7 o'clock, I can have it go to a preheat recipe, and then at a different time go to a certain other recipe. And then I had a problem with a customer had a problem where they were 24/5. And the reason the all-off is a neat feature is they had a situation where the users were not turning off the heats on the weekends. They'd be leaving. You could schedule it to turn off all the heats on Friday at 6 o'clock. So very, very powerful system. The other thing that we have here is we can log in. Now you notice all these are blue right here, but if I log out, you'll notice that all of a sudden I don't have access to everything. Well, we don't want everybody to have access to everything. But if I go ahead and log in as an administrator, which I'm going to do, you'll see that these light back up again, and I have the ability to add people's passwords, their name, their password, and access level. So a lot of features with regards to that. Also, there's a setup screen here, and this is where we set up our warnings and our fatals. For instance, we can look at a warning if our amps on our extruder drive climbs too high. We want to be able to alarm it. We may have a gearbox going out or a screen changer getting dirty, and this is where we'd set this up. Also, we set up our pressure calibration here. So we would calibrate our pressure to our screen. So this would be a maintenance screen. And the last screen I want to show you is the alarm screen. And I mentioned earlier that you want to know the moment something happens. And this is a great story. We had a customer that had a situation where they had a lightning strike occur on their panel. And our screen indicated that they had a shorted solid-state relay. Now, in a normal system, nobody would know. In fact, your heat would climb up on that zone, and eventually you would have extruder damage or product damage. But one of the things that was really neat about this is we let them know immediately with Tempcom system they had a short solid-state relay, told us what module had the problem. The third shift operator or maintenance person was able to go and notice which module it was. In fact, these are color-coded, red being fatal, yellow being warning, green being informational. And the LEDs are the same way on the GFX4. They're red and yellow and green, and he saw which module was red. And he was able to go and get a module from stores, put it in, set the address, turn the system on, and it came up and running. And then they called us and ordered a solid-state relay and fixed it themselves. So it was really, really great. They said, this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a system that is extremely flexible, great diagnostics that would let us know when we have problems like that. Integrated Control Technologies is capable of doing any type of extrusion process, whether it be blown film, cast film, pipe, profile, sheet. We have experience in all of these, and Tempcom can apply to any and all of these systems. Please contact your local ICT representative, and we'd be glad to work with you on a project to give you a quotation so that you can see how this could benefit you and your company.